Heartiest welcome to Global Talk Show by Business Bar Academy, Netherlands. And today we have an amazing guest from a beautiful island. And she is none other than Dr. Kamane Soman. Welcome, Dr. Kamane, to our show. It's a great privilege hosting you today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show today.
Well, before I take a lovely deep dive in just journey with beautiful Dr. Kamane, let me apprise of Kamane. She's the founder of PADA, which we are going to talk and take a deep dive once again. She's a Christian counseling, color therapist, wow, a coach, speaker, and a multi-awarded, multi-versatile personality. So without being a pause, I am so glad to host my guest, Dr. Kamane. Well, Dr. Kamane, everybody knows about you little, but still, the incredible life journey is much awaited, and I pass the dice in your court for the incredible life journey.
So my name is Dr. Kamane Soman, and I'm from the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's actually two islands, and I was actually born in Trinidad, and I actually live in Tobago. So we're surrounded by water. I'm actually a survivor of domestic violence. Hence, I started PADA, and in Tobago, by extension to Trinidad, I assist women and girls affected by domestic violence. So I would offer things like free counseling. I would offer court support. Having gone through that experience myself, because I am a survivor of domestic violence, I recognize the need and how vulnerable as a woman when you go to the court, how vulnerable you feel. Sometimes you don't understand everything that's happening, everything that is being said. So 2016, I started my journey in education, and I started my long journey in counseling, color therapy, family mediation, just to name a few, risk and vulnerability in children. So that's what we do at PADA. So we offer the free counseling, we offer court support. We also offer something called family mediation between husbands, wives, and children. And we do something called risk and vulnerability in children. When there's a situation in a family between a husband and a wife or partners, and there's children involved, sometimes we remove the parents, but sometimes we don't realize how the children are traumatized. So we do something called risk and vulnerability in children, so we can do that assessment and see how deeply affected they are. And we also offer those kind of counseling for children. We don't actually have a safe house at all in Tobago, which is very sad. So we try to use our business community, which is really good to us. So like guest houses that we have in Tobago, they would allow us 2 nights, 3 nights. So if we have to remove a woman and her children, we can put them up there for a couple nights until we can reassess the situation and decide what can be done. Most times there is safe houses in Trinidad, so sometimes we fly them over to Trinidad and they go to a safe house there. At the moment, we're actually trying to see how we can start to get funding so we can build a safe house.
Wow, this is really a powerful journey. Dr. Kamane, I must appreciate your vigor, your strength, because this requires a lot of vigor and a lot of courage to move on this path. It we call as domestic violence, protecting women, child, and of course, the counseling part, which you said it was really powerful. I appreciate you. I salute you to your beautiful, incredible, powerful life journey. And trust me, today, thousands of people, millions of people who are watching this live show and who are going to watch this video later, they are going to fill with a lot of zest, a lot of zeal. And whenever they will feel low in their life journey, they are going to remember Dr. Kamane, and definitely they can move on in their life. So thank you so much for this loveliest answer. Well, moving to another, you can say, a question. I would love to know, Dr. Kamane, what kind of challenges you had faced in your life, and how do you overcome those tricky challenges? So it will be a great, great inspiration for my people, for my global audience to know and to tackle, and they will come to know how they are going to tackle their life journey. So kindly enlighten that.
For me, in everything, coming from a very small island, sometimes our minds are made up. And it's not only our minds are made up, but things are passed on to us. So sometimes how our grandparents deal with stuff and our parents will deal with stuff, they would pass it on down to us. As an East Indian woman, I was taught that this is my family and it doesn't matter what my husband does, that is my husband. And I have to do everything in my power as an East Indian woman to fix it. That's my family. And of course, I did try everything in my power. We would have tried so much different types of counseling, so much different types of mediation, but it just didn't work. And I recognized that I had to save in order for me to live to see my children future, I had to save myself. So I had to get out of that. And getting out of a domestic violence situation when you don't have the support from friends and from family is really, really hard. But I had that strong will deep down inside of me. I had to live for my children and I had to see my children grow up. And I had to break this cycle of violence for them and for their children. So I got up and I end that cycle of abuse for myself and for my children. And it started with education. That's what it started with. My eyes started opening up when I started the internet. There's so much resources on the internet and it's so much resources that is free to us. At least for me in our tiny island, when I stop and I look around, every single person that I go to different places, I may go to a restaurant, I may go to the bank, I may go to just around, and you would see every single person with a cell phone in their hands. And that cell phone, they have internet access on it. So what I did with that power that I had, I started researching and started educating myself on what is violence, what is domestic violence, what can I do? And then colleges and universities start popping up, and some of these universities and college give back to the world free. And I started doing it. And for me, it's all about knowledge. When you have this power of knowledge, no one can take it away from you. So my journey started with my eyes being opened with the education part. And that's my journey where I started with the education. So when I became knowledgeable in domestic violence and abuse, and I recognized how it can affect not only my life, but my children's life, and I started my journey on education, I started breaking that cycle. Upon breaking that cycle, it was a really hard journey because, as I said, my family couldn't understand and I couldn't blame them if they didn't know. You can't blame someone who don't know. So I had to change that mindset. So I started showing them educating, started speaking up against violence in Tobago, by extension, Trinidad. So I started speaking up more about it and started educating people about it. Sometimes we would go to the communities and people would say, oh, I didn't know that is abuse. I didn't know that I was doing that. So people's eyes were starting to open about certain things that they would do that is a habit and they would think it's a normal, and it's not normal. So that's my journey in terms of my educational part in breaking that cycle of domestic violence.
Wow, this is really, really, really powerful, Dr. Kamani. And I am sure people watching this live show, especially our feminine leaders, those eyes are stuck up with domestic violence and they don't know what to do. You have given a
Yes,
light today and you have shown the light, shown the path that whatever happens, you should not give up on your dreams. You should still fight on and you should
that's
have that courage, because most of the women don't have courage to speak it up because they will, yes, I agree with you. I totally agree. Yes, sometimes their family will say, sometimes their society, their country. They will have all social foundations that you have. He's your husband. You have to obey. You have to treat him like a god, which I am
Yes.
totally disagree. If you're not happy, you should raise the voice. And if you are not raising your voice, if you're bearing everything, then you are the most culprit person. You are just giving so many chances, so many, provocations, so many motivations to a culprit.
Yes.
So I hats off to you. And I request all the global feminine leaders, if you're going through those phases of your life and if you're still not having courage, so kindly contact Dr. Kamini. If you don't have courage, she is going to give you that fiery courage, and she is going to make your life beautiful, and she's going to take you from that pit and make you the best one. So awesome one, Dr. Kamini. I'm so happy and glad that I'm hosting you and hearing such a wonderful life story. Well, this is all about your life journey, your challenges. Let's talk about your work. Pada, I saw that Pada. What is actually it is about? You're a Christian counseling. Wow, this is really awesome. So kindly enlighten your work with our global audience. We would love to cherish that also.
So PADA stands for People Against Domestic Abuse and was founded in 2016. And that was birthed from my being a victim. Now I'm a survivor, and now I say I'm an achiever because I've achieved so many things moving forward from that ashes of domestic violence. So at PADA, we offer free counseling, we offer court support, we offer family mediation, and different types of, we are supportive to our women and girls, and we don't just stop to women and girls, we are supportive to the family. The reason why I chose Christian counseling is I'm a highly favored child of God. And the first thing for me I've noticed is that when people going through pain in their lives, they turn to God. And if you don't equip yourself to help the people, how would you help them? So sometimes you would look and you would see the churches, they would go to the church. If something happened, you would see the people going to church. They'll go to the temple, they'll go to the mosque. This trying, when they're in those situations, that's who they look for. They look for God. So when we equip ourselves, we can further assist, we can further help them in their time of need. So that's why I choose that field. Because of from my personal experience and from where I am in my country, where I can sit and I could look and I could see every single time I've seen a family, a friend, a neighbor, something happens, their child gets sick, their husbands, their wives, their mom, daughter, sister, they go to a place of a house of God to seek God. So if we equip ourselves, then we can assist and then we can help.
Wow, this is very true, Dr. Kamini. And yes, I do agree. When you are surrounded by dark black clouds of disparity, of nervousness, anxiety, tension, stress, then the ray of light is only God. And when you are, under the shadow of God, you will find the beautiful almighty power in some or other forms. Like we can say that God will not come just like that on earth, but yes, he can send his messengers in the form of great human beings. And I do agree. So God is with you. You are the favorite child of God. And I can see a positive glow, a positive, vibrations from your personality. So keep it up, keep rocking, and keep moving forward and keep inspiring people the way you are. Wow. This is really lovely to know. And I am requesting once again to my global audience, if you're going through such domestic violence, such mental tortures, kindly contact Dr. Kamini. She is going to help you through her organization, PADA, and that will say only one thing: make your life beautiful, because this life is very, very precious, never ever going to destroy this beautiful life for anyone. And don't lose your smile or positivity just because of any person. Just love yourself. Wow. Moving to this beautiful talk show journey with beautiful Dr. Kamini. Dr. Kamini, We would love to know your mission and vision too. What are your plans about PADA or your organization or for yourself? And we would love to know that also.
Yes. So you can find us if you look on Facebook, you can find us People Against Domestic Abuse or under Kamane Soman, and you would see a whole bunch of stuff that we would do in our country. Our mission and our vision is to actually promote the development of people who was abused to achieve their full physical, intellectual, social, and spiritual potentials as responsible citizens and members of their local and national and international communities. Our method of achieving this aim in People Against Domestic Abuse is providing counseling, training, care, and support by mentoring them in their personal and social and spiritual development into responsible adults who will play an important role in their communities and wider society by striving to create a place of mutual respect and understanding of abuse by education, in removing the stigma of domestic violence through proper guidance by espousing courage, discipline, life skills, physical well-being to all our survivors. Our mission and vision is to restore families, restore those who are disadvantaged, that they have a choice and a hope. Our mission and vision is to bring lasting and positive change in the lives of the domestic violence survivors through the frontline work of prevention and advocacy. What we're trying to do right now at PADA here at Tobago is to assist some single mothers. What happens to survivors of domestic violence is that if we know what domestic violence is, we recognize it's a type of control and abuse. So we have our perpetrator that they isolate you from your family, from your friends, even from education. So sometimes we have these women that don't have any kind of skills, any kind of education. They may have skills, they may be able to use their hands, but these perpetrators would isolate you. So at the moment, we want to do some courses with some of these survivors of domestic violence. They are single mothers in terms of, and I'll give you an example. We want to do, you know, when you're a vulnerable woman and you're going to the workplace, people can and likely to want to take advantage of you. So what we're going to do with these young single domestic violence survivors is teach them how they dress for a workplace, how you may dress, the appropriate way to dress to go to a workplace, the appropriate way to dress if you are called to an interview. What we're going to do and we're going to teach them is how you dress for an interview, your colors, how your colors affect you. As a color therapist myself, I recognize how colors affect you and how it can bring you down or up or lift your moods. Sometimes we say things like, oh, that's my favorite color. And people will comment and say, oh, that color looks so good on you. And you would realize that we gravitate to that color. We actually wear that color more and stuff like that. So colors are an important part of our lifestyle because when we look at the world today, it is not black and white. It is not gray. It is full of vibrant colors. So colors mean a big part of our life. So that's what we want to teach our women is colors. The colors for you as a colored woman, what your colors are, so it can enhance you. So that's two things. So we'll teach them how to dress. We want to teach them their colors. So when they apply their makeup, when they apply colors to their hair, when they're dressing for work, the colors that they choose, it must complement their own color. And then we'll also teach them interviewing styles, how to answer interviews, how to answer questions, what can be done when you're sitting in an interview and you are sexually harassed. What can be done? Because as women who are in vulnerable position, sometimes you go at an interview and we have people saying, listen, you don't worry, we'll take care of you. You just do whatever I ask. And we have these women who are in very vulnerable position. Sometimes they succumb to those things. So we teach them what they can do to those kind of things like that. And then we'll also teach them like different, as I said, different interviewing styles, different colors. So we want to take them through a process of how they can go to the workforce. So if you are confident in the way that you dress, in the way that you speak, and you know that you are confident enough to handle yourself in an interview, because sometimes we have all of these skills and we have all these experience and we can't speak it well in an interview session. So we'll train them how. So that's some of the things that we want to do with some of the women. So that is in the making at the point right now. We still looking, we're still waiting on funding because everything costs a lot. Anything you want to do, it costs money. So we're still waiting on some funding to see if we can pull this program off. And we want to do it in a couple cycles in Tobago. Look at the rural areas in Tobago. So we want to target some of the most vulnerable women. So those are some of the things that we at PADA will do to educate and lift and edify our women of domestic violence. And as I said earlier on the program, I was a survivor of domestic violence. I'm no longer a survivor. I say I am an achiever now because I've achieved so many things in my life. So for the women who are listening on today, you can do it. You can.
Wow. Dr. Kamane, you have sparked the fire, I must say. And the people who are watching, especially our women, and the people who says you are the weaker section of the society, but I say, women, thy name is fragility. You are stronger than the mountains and you can break anything. A male ego, a male mountain, or you can say a great mountain. So hats off to you. I really appreciate your strength because this strength is not at all easy to come out from a woman. And only a woman who has gone through all these pains can get all these strengths. That is also the beauty of your journey, Dr. Kamane. And I'm so elated today, so glad to host such a great personality, such a powerful personality. And you are inspiring millions today. You are showing this path to so many people, so many women. And women, if you are fearing to take any step, then this step can be helpful for you with Dr. Kamane. Kindly contact her. You can find her on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere. Well, moving to this last journey of Global Talk Show, Dr. Kamane, what will be your powerful message to all our females or all our global audience? And this is the most awaited question.
Yes, I think so. And I put a lot of thought and a lot of prayer into this question. You know, as I said before, as a survivor of domestic violence, I would have had so many negative things said to me and over my life. And when I came out of that abuse, I had to find who I was and who Kamane was. And that was very, very difficult for me. So for the women who are listening out there, for anybody who are listening out there, I want to give you some tips on how you can find yourself, how you can start living for yourself. One of the things is to get to know yourself better. And how do you know that? How can you get to know yourself better? You can determine your values and you can set your moral codes that you want to live by. Discover what is your own personal, unique personality. And that in itself is a great and awesome thing. You can decide what you want your future to be like, and you can do it. You can focus on yourself and what are your interests and what you like and you enjoy doing.
Wow, this is really great, Dr. Kamane, and I must appreciate what are the powerful messages you have given today that are not going to go in vain, that are going to be precious milestones for the people, for the women who are still under domestic violence, and they're still getting scared to take the step on. And really, it's a great one. So I must say only one thing, that please move on in your journey. And please, this is life, beautiful life. And never ever sacrifice, never ever just destroy for somebody else. So thank you so much, Dr. Kamane, for coming to our show. It's really, really been a pleasant journey to have this deep dive in your great journey. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And once again, thank you so much, my global audience, for constantly and consistently loving us, inspiring us. So keep doing that. Stay happy, Helenati. Bye-bye for now.